Is it screaming? All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:33. It is March 2nd. Wow, new month, just like that. New month, lot going on. Obviously, everyone knows what's going on around the world. My thoughts go out to everyone involved who are in areas that they can't control what's going on around them. So it's always good to send out a little positive thoughts. I'm not going to talk politics, what's right, what's wrong. All I'm going to talk about is here we are. It's Monday morning. Futures are down like 65, 70 handles. So we have the ability to control what we can control, which is our P&L, which is our positions, which is making the right decisions at the right time based on what we have going on today. My name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com, the founder of Red Dog Mindset, and here we are. So with that being said, the war trade is on, right? You have gold and silver up, you have oil up, you have energy stocks up, you have the futures down, not a hell of a lot, like 60 handles. We're still in this range, and the question is, do you fade the wartime action, or could you go against, or buy, what's under pressure? So we're going to have multiple plans and try and figure it out. But at this point, I feel like most of my community has risked down, as far as not too many positions out there because the SPYs and the Qs are below the 8 and 21 day. You did get a little bit of a reversal in this end of the range. Right now, the SPYs are down 6. So if you simplify it today, so I would simplify it, will the SPYs, right now it's at 680 at 634. Will it hold 680 and reclaim 681? If it does that and puts another candle in right here, chances are this range is staying intact for those of you who are looking for a range break. If it can't get above 681.65 and heads back below 680, here's 675. And if you want to take a little bit of a step back and look at perspective, you look at the weekly charts are intact. Basically you have sectors that have been beat up, battered, bruised, and then you have sectors that have been doing great. And overall, if you look here at the SPYs, on this upper, weekly chart pattern, it's held above 675 this entire time. So for today and tomorrow, if it can't break 675, chances are I wouldn't be pressing that anymore, and just try and figure out where the money's flowing, because the money, flow, changes. And so far since the start of 2026, a lot of flow prior to all this has gone into the energy sector, the XLE. Look at the XLE. Look how different this is. The XLE has been above the 8 day the entire time. The XLE, has been a sector that has been out of play for over a decade, that finally is paying individuals who are going there and buying the 8 day and being involved. We've gone over this numerous times. I think one of our power plays is Schlumberger, which isn't the best one, but it's pretty good. So if you've been buying the 8, the XLE, like for me, I don't trade a lot of the energy names. I have like 45 or more stocks that are on my go-to list. I did dissect some decent moves out of the XLE, but for those of you who are trading this sector, congratulations. Hopefully you're doing really well. We've talked about Chevron, making its move, also following the 8 day higher. Schlumberger is kind of hanging here. Nothing so great, but it's it's on its way. So you have some of these trends that are going while the the SPYs are in a range, while the Qs are in a range. Good morning, Dylan. Look at the Qs. The Qs will be interesting today. The Qs, seriously, just have been laggards, and it is what it is. Not crazy, but just not exactly where the action is. So at this point, we'll see, do the Qs hold the low from yesterday? So this is 602 or Friday, I'm sorry, or not. So can you buy a dip in the Qs today? We shall see. Or is tech going to get worse? Right now you have the Qs are down 7 and change, right below 602. This is 599, so it's above 599, below 602, very similar to the SPYs. So we're going to see what happens, closer to the open there. Yes, So some people are saying, well, besides gold being up and silver being up and oil being up and energy, the drone names look pretty good. Okay, well, they've been kind of under, in a corrective phase. They also haven't been great. So maybe because all of the drones and so many drone companies are being used in this type of warfare, the future, will continue to have the drones. They are definitely making progress, as far as a sector. So if you look here, 1528 down to 948, there is some room here. If you were to trade a few of these drone names, I do think that this one is one of the favorites that people like. And if you look at it, it's up 56 cents in a sea of red. So with the Q's down 770 and the SPY's down 6.25, this is up a little bit. So if you're in some of these drone names, not everything is down. Okay. As far as some people like, why is Palantir up? Palantir does a lot of work with the government, and there was actually an upgrade today. It's been not acting well. I'm not in Palantir. But it is up, and if you're in it, it closed well. Closed well on Friday. So maybe you're in that, and it's not hurting you. There are some things that are up, some things that are not. So this is up 560. So if you're in Palantir because it was stronger, it's above the 21 days. So it's the first time in a while Palantir has been above the 8 and the 21 day. So that's something different. Someone also said, hey, Bitcoin's acting different. Right? Bitcoin has been in a corrective phase for multiple months. And finally, this weekend when the bombs dropped, Bitcoin got hit first and then all of a sudden reacted well. I'm like, it's going to be interesting to see if Bitcoin doesn't trade lower. So here's the SPYs for the first time with the SPYs. So maybe that means better action in Bitcoin moving forward, which would be nice. I like when Bitcoin's in play. I like when you could be involved there and the names that correlate to Bitcoin, like a coin and a Robinhood, and those names and some of the miners act better. So for today, this might be the first day of something different. So if you were looking for something different, in crypto, well, maybe this is, you're something different, because in the last 6 months or so, every time the SPYs are down like this, Bitcoin's been down. It hasn't been a safety vehicle. So maybe look at this. IBIT is up with silver and gold. So, hey, look at that. Maybe the relationship got a little bit better for Bitcoin. Now, as far as silver is concerned, got to use your same sell rules, right? Well, what if you're long silver and silver's been acting better? When you get a gap up in silver, which is what you have right now, silver is up $1.26, up 1.4. You always trim some. If you're long silver because it went out strong, you trim some and hold some. Same thing like in equity or same thing like trading NASDAQ stocks. Same thing with gold. If you're long gold because gold has been awesome, you had your parabolic move and it came in. You have 422, a higher low at 440, a higher low at 445, a higher low at 467, and you're in it from even 479. Well, trim some. You always have to book some. Okay, a lot of you guys have it in your asset allocation plan, so I get it. But anyway, so gold, so those things are under pressure. What's under pressure? Tech, mega cap tech. Some people are like, well, Red Dog, how did you get stopped out of Apple on Friday? I'm like, because I'm taking trades. Apple was a great trade when it reclaimed 260, sold most of it into 270 something, and then it broke. So again, this was one time, like this is a great example on how to take trades, right? This was my big entry in Apple, okay? And I was able to manage that trade all the way up to about 280. And then I got stopped out of the last third here. This time, we were buying it at 260 because I reclaimed that, remember, on that Friday. Was able to manage it all the way up, sold a bunch to 274. And I was like, if it's going to hold 271, I'm going to stay in it. Guess what? It didn't hold 271 and gave it a little bit of room. And it went all the way down to what's the low here? So that's how you manage trades. People like, how do you use the tier system? How do you manage your trade as a swing? When do you get out? Well, when the reason you're in a trade changes. So for today, I guess see what Apple does. Does Apple want to go from down 260 and reclaim 262, kind of like what it did here, make a higher low? So that'll be worth it. I'll probably look at Apple today. I'm probably as far as other mega cap techs, it's kind of hard to. Amazon's doing a whole, actually Amazon was hanging out in there. I did hear some news on one of their, their delivery centers got hit. So we'll see what happens there. So if you want to use Amazon, or if you're, even though it's been horrible. 205. It's Amazon is a 205 above 203, so that's not horrible. I tell you that you want to be in stocks that are special, that are making it easy, not horrible. So anyway, so Amazon's right here. Maybe it holds 203 and you could buy that. I will look at Nvidia today. Nvidia gave us a lot of clues, a lot of reasons to be risk down coming in today. We were sitting here in the 630 club on Thursday post earnings, and I'm like, guys, I know it was a solid report. I know they had great guidance, but doesn't mean it's going to go higher. And if it can't hold 193.80, which is this low, be careful. So it broke that. You had a big down day. So hopefully you were out of the way. You reduced risk. You had downside follow through on Friday, and now it's a little bit lower. So here we're getting back into the 200-day, which the 200-day right here is closer to 170. Let's say, what is this? This is, let's say 172.50. So I'll look at it today just for cash flow. I think that Nvidia will give us some clues on, if some tech is buyable, right? So from 194, if you were long and get out of the way, hey, maybe you could buy it here at 172 and change. Let's see. Somebody wants to say, where's Nvidia this morning? It's down at $1.89, which isn't a lot. Plus, there's some news of a new product coming out. So I'm going to look here, to see if I could buy Nvidia to go red to green. And if it could reclaim what was Friday's low, 176.38, that would relieve some pressure. So I might as well leave this here because that's going to be an area. And this is 176.38. So I do think that Nvidia is worth a look. And I give it a high probability that it goes red to green and you could make some money buying it today. Okay. You can't buy it in the upper end of the range. You might not be able to press it in the lower end of the range. So we'll see. Scott, thoughts on AXON? Would you stay with it? I am not in it. If you're in it, guess let's see. AXON. It's down 430. Here's the gap. This is 498. Yeah, if you're in it, depends on why you're in it. If you're in it versus the gap, well, then give it to the gap. That's the reason why you're in the trade, 498. So maybe it's buyable. Someone just asked me if I can go over SanDisk. All right, SanDisk has been one of the best stocks out there. The whole memory group's been really good. So today it'll be interesting to see, do they come and buy SanDisk? SanDisk was a little weaker on what's it called? It wasn't weaker, but it just didn't act great. This level is 607. Where's SanDisk this morning? SanDisk is down 22 at 612. So I would say, yeah, maybe you could buy SanDisk for 612 for it to stay special up here. Where are the SPYs now as of 645? Still hanging below that. So SanDisk, so this group is under a little pressure like everything else. SanDisk, MU, give you what else trades with that? Someone asked me. Western Digital trades with that. That's down 8. And STX. So you have to have your groups together, down 11. Okay, so if you're going to simplify it, SanDisk, which has been the leader, okay, you want to make sure you watch it. Can SanDisk hold 607? If it doesn't hold 607, maybe that changes the complexion of the group. Or if you see relative strength this morning where the futures go lower and it doesn't go lower, maybe you could trade that from red to green. You bought SanDisk already this morning? Okay, well, it's 6:46. I have 40 charts to mark up. I have to write a whole morning note to make sure all my subscribers are as up to date as possible with actionable thought process. I have an 8:15 call I have to do, so I don't really trade as much pre-market because I need to get my my content out to those that are waiting for it. I get up at 4:45, so some people don't have to. I don't think it's get up at 9 o'clock, but they may get up at 7:30. But anyway. Poet for trying to stock. All right. Well, Poet is it's like a little tiny name. Like these aren't the names that are going to be the ones that people are focusing on, but we'll see, if it rebuilds and gets better. This is a name that I talked to you guys that says a concept stock that down the road in a better market when names like this are acting better could work. Even ASTS, I got at ASTS last week, is barely holding here. I might look at it this morning. What I might, what I might do here for ASTS? What's this low? This low is 69. I might sell puts. This people like, this name's gonna be 300 in a year. I'm like, okay, it'll be 300 in a year, but right now in 2026 in February, guess what it did? Did a red dog reversal sell at a high, lost the 8-day. It's been below it since. So it could be 300 in 2028, but for right now. You're not making money in the end of February by being long ASTS. So today, maybe we'll see what happens. Maybe it'll be something you could buy in the hole. This is 69-ish. So if you want to sell $70 puts to not be perfect, I would think maybe you could do that. Remember, risk is premium, paid assets, earnings. Okay, that's true. So maybe I don't sell option premium. It's down $1.69. So when does it come out with earnings? It's March 2nd. So earnings are today. So we'll see how that goes. All right, that makes sense. See, you guys are watching my back. I appreciate you. Microsoft already moved above Friday's lows. Yeah, so you know what? I like that idea. Microsoft, it gave a bit of a bounce. Yes, it did. You had the red dog reversal at 383. You could have sold 407, and then it pulled into what? 390. So does this make a higher low? Does software get a little bit better? That's going to be very interesting to see, how the market holds in there. Microsoft's only down $1.70. That's not too bad. What moves with Microsoft? Oracle, down 365. IGV is the sector there. Okay, down only 76 cents. So software, it's kind of interesting. Look at the SPYs now. The SPYs are back above 680. So perhaps the market's not going to crash like some people out there are saying. It's going to just be a way to manage your process. I have some 677 puts on for tomorrow. I'm hoping at least we stay down for a little bit so we could manage things after the market opens. But either which way, this group has been a group that has been under pressure. So we'll see. Does this group go green first? That would also show you a little change of character and know that, hey, maybe you could trade that a little closer. Same way with Nvidia. I do think Nvidia is worth a look this morning. Now it's only down $1.10. I might have to buy this before it goes green before the open. All right, guys, I appreciate you for tuning in. I'm going to be here all week. Control what you can control. Let's stack some days. I appreciate those of you who are members of Red Dog Mindset who've already did the 25-20 with me. We had a nice workout, getting ready. You can only control your thought process, control how you're feeling so you can execute with confidence when your edge triggers during the day. If you feel like you're lost, you're deer in headlights and you don't know what you're doing, well, take a step back and maybe join the alpha team, because a lot of people who trade for a living who know what they're doing, and that's where I sit pretty much for the rest of the day. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys over at the alpha team if you're a member there. If not, good luck to you. Stay safe.